So you asked, we deliver. And today we're in Winnipeg, the capital of Manitoba. So today we will tell you everything about this hidden gem right in heart of Canada. And it might just surprise you.
We will cover three main aspects about the city: its culture and vibe, its economy and job opportunities, and the cost of living. So if you're thinking of moving to the city or simply thinking of visiting it, grab a cup of something delicious, sit back, and let's get started. Winnipeg is located in the geographic center of North American continent and sometimes refers to itself as the heart of the continent. With a population of over 830,000 people, it is the seventh largest city in Canada and has a rich history that dates back over 6,000 years. Like the entire territory of Canada, this area was originally inhabited by indigenous people, including the Cree, Ojibwe, and Assiniboine. The city's modern history began in the 18th century when French and British fur traders established their presence in the region. Incorporated in the 19th century, Winnipeg name comes from the word win for muddy and nipi for water, referring to the confluence of the Red and Assiniboine rivers where the city was established. Eventually, Winnipeg was nicknamed the Gateway to the West, as the city became a major transportation hub and railway center connecting eastern Canada with the western prairies and the Pacific coast. Winnipeg became a big deal in the 19th century as it became a thriving financial, agricultural, and manufacturing center, and most importantly, a transportation hub with tremendous railway facilities reaching out in every direction and connecting Canada to the US. In the early 20th century, Winnipeg paved the way for the political and social activism. For instance, in 1919, Winnipeg paved the way for the improved labor rights and unionization in Canada, when thousands of workers walked off their job to protest poor working conditions and low wages in what is known as the Winnipeg General Strike. The strike lasted for 6 weeks and ended in violent confrontation with the police. But workers got what they wanted for themselves and for the Canada's future.
We were surprised to learn that Winnipeg has more culture to it than you might think. It actually calls itself the cultural cradle of Canada, and it's home to the oldest dance company in Canada, Royal Winnipeg Ballet. And the Winnipeg Art Gallery has the largest collection of contemporary Inuit art, and the list goes on. Overall, this city has plenty of world-class museums and art galleries. Some of them are pretty impressive architectural structures, like Royal Canadian Mint, one impressive building which produces coins for over 80 countries in the world. We also enjoyed our visit to the Forks Market. It reminded us a lot of the Time Out Market in Lisbon. Definitely a place to recommend. Another attraction in the city is the Winnipeg Exchange District. This is the historic site and the arts and culture neighborhood of Winnipeg. If I lived here, this is the area where I would definitely hang out the most. And if you have appreciation for Chicago-style architecture, you would definitely be visually pleased here.
There seems to be plenty of things to do in Winnipeg, no matter the time of the year. In the summer, there's plenty of festivals to enjoy, from folk music to electronic music to jazz or comedy. And since Winnipeg is one of the coldest cities in the world, its people have definitely mastered the fun of winter. There's plenty of things to do here, from skating to museums to Nordic spa to multiple winter festivals. Sports is also an important part of the city's life, and even though the Winnipeg Jets fans are not the most populous, they're definitely the most passionate.
One of the things that define the city is its people. And I found out that people in Winnipeg are super friendly and welcoming, and the city has a special take on multiculturalism that's different from Toronto. The city also has a number of strong communities within it. First, Winnipeg has the largest total population of indigenous people in the country. It also has a large Ukrainian community, and its influence cannot go unnoticed, as it is an integral part of the city's art and cultural events. The city is also home to the St. Boniface neighborhood. It's Canada's largest French-speaking community in Western Canada, outside Quebec. And lastly, Winnipeg has the largest Filipino population relative to the total population of the city. All this makes Winnipeg the most multiracial city in the whole Canada. How unique is that? Please gently tap the like button below if you're enjoying learning about the city which served as an inspiration for Winnie the Pooh. Yes, you heard me right. The famous teddy bear got his name after a real cub called Winnie, who was adopted by a British veterinary officer Colborne before World War I, and he lived in Winnipeg.
Winnipeg is situated on the eastern edge of the Canadian prairies, and prairies in general are known for the flat terrain and an extensive network of rivers and lakes. Winnipeg has a continental climate with warm summers and cold winters. Very cold winters. The average temperatures in the summer are around 20 degrees Celsius and minus 12 in the winter. However, the temperatures can drop to as low as minus 40 degrees Celsius in the coldest days. And after all, Winnipeg is one of the top 5 coldest cities in the entire world. What's your impressions of Winnipeg so far, Anna?
I wish it were warmer, but it is what it is. The architecture is primarily beige and brownish, and I noticed there are a lot of skywalks between buildings. It means it gets really cold in winter, which is convenient to have something to walk inside, so you don't have to go outside.
Yeah, they have the same thing in Calgary, so that's a sign that it's really cold here. Another thing I noticed is that there's lots of sand on the road, and I'm not sure, maybe that's because they use sand to avoid slippery roads in the winter.
Which is more ecological friendly.
True, but it makes it look like all covered in sand and dirt and stuff.
A little bit dusty, yeah.
Yeah.
Winnipeg is a major economic hub in the central region of Canada. The city is home to a variety of industries led by manufacturing, transportation, finance, healthcare and education. Manufacturing is one of the largest industries in Winnipeg, with companies producing a wide range of goods, from food products and furniture to aerospace and transportation equipment. And since all these manufactured goods need to be transported all across the North America, the city has become a critical transportation center between Vancouver and Toronto, and is the only major city between Thunder Bay and Vancouver with direct rail connections to the United States. Some of the largest Winnipeg employers are federal and provincial government, the University of Winnipeg, and several major hospitals. And Winnipeg is also home to Boeing Canada. It also has good exposure to the garment production and biotechnology companies, with a handful of world-class laboratories and research centers, notably Canadian Science Centre for Human and Animal Health and the National Research Council Institute for Biodiagnostics. The unemployment rate in the province of Manitoba is slightly lower than the national average, 4.7% versus 4.9%, and is among the lowest across the whole Canada. Manitoba overall has struggled to attract skilled workers to the province, which translates into labor shortages, particularly in healthcare, skilled trades, IT and agriculture. Due to labor shortages, the province of Manitoba has the lowest amount of family doctors per capita across whole Canada, and to address these shortages, the province is implementing a lot of new immigration programs. And the city of Winnipeg is investing heavily into new education and training programs, as well as trying to create new startup communities. As for higher education, Winnipeg is home to several major colleges and universities, including University of Manitoba, which ranks in top 20 best universities in Canada. This is University of Winnipeg behind my back, by the way. In recent years, Winnipeg, just like almost every major city in Canada, has seen an increase in the number of international students, with over 22,000 students coming to Manitoba to study last year. It is an attractive option for many with its low cost of living and its central location. It's just 2-3 hours by air from major cities like Vancouver, Toronto, and Chicago.
So what's the deal with the cost of living in Winnipeg? Compared to all the other Canadian major cities, Winnipeg is pretty affordable, for now. A family of 4 estimated monthly cost of living is $4,400 without rent, and a single person estimated monthly cost is around $1,200 Canadian dollars without rent. The average cost of renting a 1-bedroom apartment in a city center is around $1,000 Canadian dollars, and a 3-bedroom apartment costs around $2,000. Going further away from the city will always make these rent numbers even more attractive. When it comes to income, the average after-tax monthly salary in Winnipeg is around $38,000 annual, or $3,000 or so monthly. This is higher than Montreal, Halifax, London, and St. John, but is lower than in Edmonton, Calgary, and Ottawa. But the cost of living in those cities is generally higher too. If you're interested to have more information about salaries in Manitoba by occupation, you can check out the Wage Report on Job Bank website. We will leave the link to it below. It'll give you a really good idea of what to expect. Overall, Winnipeg offers one of the more affordable costs of living in Canada, with one of the most affordable housing markets for now. The only other major city that can compete with that is Quebec City in Quebec.
Now that we've covered all the nice and informative stuff, we cannot not mention some of the issues that the city is facing these days. You've probably heard that these days the nickname of Winnipeg is the crime capital of Canada. The city has been struggling with several issues such as high crime rates, poverty rates, and drug addiction problems. Statistics Canada says Winnipeg has the second highest homicide rate in Canada per 100,000 people, just behind Thunder Bay, Ontario. In 2022, Winnipeg had 51 killings in total, surpassing the record of 44 set in 2019. In addition, the poverty rate in the province is also high. More than 15% of population live below low-income measure. The city also faces challenges with drug addiction and substance abuse, and the government is trying to implement numerous measures and trying to fight the overdose and combat addiction. However, critics argue that these measures are not enough and more needs to be done. Especially we need to address poverty rates and mental health issues because they are the main reasons for high crime rates. All in all, Winnipeg was a really nice surprise for us. With its own vibrant and special arts and culture scene, the distinct and unique architecture, and the warmth and friendliness of people. Overall, we really enjoy our brief stay here in Winnipeg, and we would definitely want to come back, especially in the summer, to attend some of its most famous festivals like the Winnipeg Folk Festival or the Winnipeg Jazz Festival. That's the one that I'm most curious about. Or we can go to one of the multiple parks around the city, take a boat on the lake or enjoy summer beaches.
Winnipeg is definitely a hidden gem of Canada, and you can see it everywhere. You can see it on the streets, you can see it on your plate, and you can see it in people's smiles.
Thank you for watching, and a special thank you to our Patreon supporters.
And if you're from Winnipeg, let us know in the comments below if you've missed anything, if there is something that you want people to know about your favorite city, Winnipeg.
And if you're still with us, now is the perfect time to click the like button below and subscribe to this channel for more content like this.
And we will see you in the next one.
Take care!